All right, so there was no sleepers video for the John Deere, but you know what? I did it. I forgot to publish it. The sleepers were Straka and Kevin Yu. You're welcome. So we're back for this one. I'm going to publish this one for the Genesis Scottish Open, and I got 3 plays, but it's going to be a little different today. Going to be a little different. 3 plays, 2 of them in the 6K range, 1 of them in the 7K range. I think 2 of them for sure are going to be like 4% owned or less. One might creep up to like 6 or 7. We'll see who talks him up, but I don't think anybody's going to talk him up. And I want to show you something because, normally I share my screen. We look at Fantasy National a lot. I show you what I'm seeing. I'm going to do that for my 7K play. But for the other 2 guys, there's really not a whole lot to look at, but I've done a bunch of deep diving, a bunch of Googling, bunch of digging around on the DP World Tour's horrible website. But I want to show you this. I'm going to share my screen. I did a bunch of research for this and I put it in the Discord. I do this almost every week. I put in a lot of information in the research thread on Discord so that you don't have to spend all the time doing it. And I can give you some valuable nuggies. And I'm going to show you a couple nuggies that are going to be really nice for our first 2 selections in the 6K range. So let me share the screen. I'm going to give you a peek behind the curtain here in the Discord. If I can locate, where is my Discord? Here it is. Okay. All right. So this is in the research thread of our Discord channel. Let me get rid of myself. How do I do this? There we go. I'm going to do that. All right. So this is a research thread, and this is some research I dumped in there from the 2022 Genesis Scottish Open. The perfect lineup would have included 2 players in the 6K range, but here's what I want to point your attention to. 8 of the top 10 in percentage of DraftKings points to price. So how many points did they score relative to their price? We get that percentage. 8 of the top 10 were in the 6K range, and 4 were full-time DP World Tour players. That's important because the 2 guys I'm going to give you in the 6K range are DP World Tour players. Listen, I could give there's some good names down there that we're familiar with that you could certainly consider playing. But I want to educate you too. Like I probably could have picked safer sleepers here, but I want to try to educate you on a couple of names that we need to know for now. We might need to know for next week. I'm not sure if they're in the open or not. I probably should have looked that up, but I didn't. I don't have a research guy. I need a research guy. Like, don't they have research guys in sports like football? And I could just be like, hey man, go find me out some stuff, and I would have a little nerd go do that and then write it down for me. I wish I had one of those. If you'd like to apply, please apply. It's a non-paying position, but it comes with perks. We'll figure out the perks. Got to hold on. I got a front 9 coffee to sip here. Okay, so I think that's important. A lot of 6K guys. Here's another one. 5 6K players were in the top 10 in DraftKings points scored. Half the top 10 scoring players last year were in the 6K range. That's 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 a lot. That is a lot. Now, last year we had some wind. We had some crazy wind. We had a lot of variance there with the wind. There was over a 2-shot advantage to the weather wave situation on Thursday and Friday. The weather's all it's changed a lot this week. I mean, I'm recording this on Tuesday morning around 10:30 in the morning, and it's changed a bunch. So we're going to keep monitoring that. And if there's less of a wave advantage, that means less variance. We could see that probably. I doubt that we'll get if we're going to take the over under on 5. I would take the under, but it does show you that some of these 6K guys can pop. I don't know how high their upside really and truly is, and I don't know that I could know that because we don't see these guys on a regular basis compete against the kind of talent they're competing against this week. But it's something to take note of. All right, I'm going to get these first 2 players out quickly, and I don't have a lot to show you, like I said, because I would be sharing so many freaking screens. The first one is $6,600 Grant Forrest. Okay, now you're probably going to see his name as a local Scot, but Grant Forrest is the localist of the locals. Okay, like Ewan Ferguson's a Scot, Richie Ramsay is a Scot, Bobby McIntyre is a well-known Scot, and all these guys are probably familiar with playing around North Berwick. But Grant Forrest is the only one that I can find who is a member at the Renaissance Club. He practices out of there, he plays out of there, he knows this golf course very, very well. He's plus 320 on FanDuel to top 40. I think that's probably the best number for him. And I don't know that I would look to too much more upside out of top 30 maybe, but I wouldn't want to bet on top 20 or anything. But here's what's interesting. He's made 12 of 14 cuts in 2023, 6 top 15s. 12 of 14 cuts, 6 top 15s. He did play here last year. He did miss the cut. That's unfortunate. Okay. Obviously, he was a member here last year too, and he missed the cut. But in 2020 and 2019, he played the Aberdeen Scottish Open here. He finished 19th in 2020 and 43rd in 2019. Golf course seemingly played a lot easier, definitely way less competition. I understand that. This is his home course. Another thing that he mentioned, I read in an article that he did this year, is from 2022 to 2023, he picked up a new veteran caddy. And you can already see in his results in 2023, that's been a good thing for him. That can help for a young guy. He just finished T30 at the Maiden Himmerland, whatever that is, just this past week with 3 rounds in the 60s. Just had one tough round. He had an ace, 2 eagles, and 11 birdies. If we get softer conditions at the Renaissance Club with all the rain projected, if the wind kind of dies and it kind of turns into a little more of a scoring tournament than it was last year, I love that for Grant. On the DP World Tour, in terms of statistics right now, he is 16th in driving distance, which I think distance plays a large factor here, rain or not. He's 33rd in strokes gained putting. His iron play is kind of average. He does have a top 10 at the Alfred Dunhill Links in 2022 and a T27 in 2021 at the Alfred Dunhill. So he's played well on those links courses. And here's the final thing I'll tell you about him. I couldn't find any head-to-head matchups on him, but I was looking at one of the sharper overseas books in the outright market. And he is shorter in the outright market than the following players priced higher than him on DraftKings. Matthew Southgate, Ewan Ferguson, who's the other Scot that you're going to hear about, Eddie Pepperell, and shockingly, Thorbjorn Olesen. Grant Forrest is shorter in the outright market on that book than those players. I don't know. Could be worth a shot. All right, let me get to my next 6K play at $6,800 plus 240 to top 40. I'm talking about Matthew Pavon, or Matthew, as I think Pat called him. Matthew Pavon. Okay, T36 here in 2022. And I think, am I wrong about this? Let me see. No. Okay. So T36 at this tournament in 2022. Played it in 2021 when Minwoo Lee won, finished 12th. He's played in a U.S. Open before, has a top 25 in a 2018 U.S. Open. This season in 2023, he's made 13 of 15 cuts with 6 top 20s, 4 top 10s. 13 of 15 cuts, 6 top 20s, 4 top 10s. Pretty good. T17 and T7 in his last 2 starts and on the DP World Tour. Statistically, he is 20th in strokes gained putting, 34th around the green, so very tidy short game. Top 50 in both accuracy and distance off the tee. Love that total driving aspect. Kind of like Grant Forrest, just kind of average in terms of iron play and approach play. And here's the thing about him. Same overseas sharp book, outright odds. Matthew Pavon is shorter than the following players priced above him in DraftKings: Eric Cole, Matt Wallace, Andrew Putnam, Yannick Paul, Davis Riley, and Thorbjorn Olesen. All those players priced higher than him, yet that sharp overseas book gives Pavon a better chance to win. Now, I would have loved to shop the top 20 number on that. Maybe they think Pavon has that boomer bust potential, and they would make him a little bit longer in the top 20. I don't know, but those aren't out yet. So Matthew Pavon, 6,800, Grant Forrest, 66. I doubt either one of those players see 3 or 4% ownership. I don't think we would go crazy on any of them, but you could double it and still be sub 10% on them. You could be 8%. You could be 9% if you wanted to. And you're still highly leveraged, but you're not shooting yourself in the foot if these guys suck. All right, the last player I'm going to open up and I'm going to share my screen. Is anybody going to talk about Cam Davis? That's what I'm curious about. He's $7,300 on DraftKings. We know Cam Davis has upside. I want to start by looking at the proximity numbers. Look at the proximity numbers here. And these are the key ranges from last year. I think they might even be more impactful, and it may skew more towards the plus 200 range if this rain continues to come in and the course is softer than it was last year. But I mean, Cameron Davis can do the dang thing, 150 out. He's going to gain strokes on the field in that. I think that's something to take note of. Let's look at his performance lately. Obviously, he's a good, he's the Aussie, right? So he always gains strokes in the wind, which we're going to get here. That's good. Gain strokes on difficult conditions. I think, this is going to be harder than the average PGA Tour event, which is good. And obviously, we know he hits it long. Definitely going to do that. Good approach player long term. The putting is what we worry about. Slower greens might help that. No grain to read on these fescue greens. It's just going to do what it looks like it's going to do. Coming off the 33rd and a 17th at the Rocket Mortgage. And he is one to kind of be boomer bust. I mean, look at him here. Like even all these missed cuts and then boom, 6th place at the Players, 7th place at Heritage, 4th at the PGA. He's obviously shown up in big tournaments. Last 24 rounds in this field, he ranks 13th in strokes gained off the tee. Last 50 rounds, He ranks 20th in driving distance, 15th in those key proximity buckets. Great around the green, solid sand player, and in DraftKings. So again, back to that sharp book. His odds are better than the following players priced above him: Seamus Power, Brian Harmon, and Eric Cole. The only one of the only head-to-head matchups I found on Cam Davis was minus 120 favorite over Gary Woodland. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe people will talk about Cam Davis. Me and Pat didn't talk about him at all. So when I was looking for a sleeper, I was like, who do we not talk about? Oh, it's Cam Davis. So I just think like that guy has real upside to win. Like Cam Davis could win this golf tournament. We know that. So I'll be interested to see where he comes in. If obviously like a Pat Mayo talks him up or something, he'll get boosted. But for now, I haven't seen anything about him on Twitter. I could be wrong. So Cam Davis, Matthew Pavon, Grant Forrest, 3 sleepers for you. Hopefully they're as good as last week's would have been. Man, I hate that footage was lost. I mean, Straka and you could have won you all the money. You know what I mean? Could have won you all the money. So anyway, we'll see what happens. This has been the Sleepers video presented to you by my friends at Front 9 Coffee, front9coffee.com. Promo code TJ10 gets you 10% off any order. And may your screens be green. See you.